Okay, so for you to do this week's assignment, I wanted to review some exponent rules review for you guys. The first rule I want to review is when you have the same base like this, we multiply the coefficients, keep the base, and add the exponents. So our answer would be 2x to the 7th. So for something that looks a little bit different, like x to the square root of 2 times x to the square root of 3, even though our exponents are not rational, we're still going to add them, and we get x to the square root of 2 plus square root of 3. Okay? Now if I have x to the 4 times x to the negative 6, that would give me x to the negative 2. Now, negative exponents, remember, if you have a negative exponent, to make it positive, you put it over 1. Like that. Okay. Remember, x to the 0 is always 1. So, if I had x to the 0 over x to the 6th, it would just be 1 over x to the 6th. If we are dividing, we can subtract bases. Or if we're dividing with like bases, we can subtract exponents. So if I have x to the 10 over x to the 3rd, that's like me saying x to the 10 minus 3, which is like x to the 7th. All right, another subtracting example. If I have x to the 7/4 over x to the 3/4, that would give me x to the 7/4 minus 3/4, which would be x to the 4/4. Well, 4 over 4 is 1. X to the first power is just x. Okay? So even if they're weird exponents, guys, just treat them the same. Now the next rule, I think I was on number 4. If not, it's okay. If you have an exponent raised to another exponent, like that, you multiply them. So this would be x to the 14th. Now, if you have 2x squared cubed like that, you have to cube the 2 as well. So that's like 2 cubed times x squared cubed. Okay? So 8x to the 6th. Okay? Now, if you have x to the square root of 2 to the square root of 3, that's a different situation because when we multiply, you can multiply inside times inside. So you get x to the square root of 6. if we take x to the 3/4 times 1/3, that would give me x to the 3/12, which is x to the 1/4. Another way to write x to the 1/4 is the 4th root of x. Going off of that, rewriting numbers that have exponents that are fractions, I want to go off of that for a second. So if x to the 1/4 is the 4th root of x to the 1/2 would be the square root of x to the 1/3 would be the cubed root of x. Those ones are pretty easy. But x to the 3/4 would be the 4th root of x cubed. X to the 5/6 would be the 6th root of x to the 5th. Okay, so the top number is the exponent, the bottom number is the root. Okay, so let's move on. All right, so let's just do some examples. So if I had 5x to the 5th times -3x squared, first thing I always do is the coefficients, so that's -15. I have multiplication here, so I'm going to have an x, add the exponents, so to the 7th. Okay. 3x to the 5th over 2x to the 4th on parentheses. Remember, order of operations, you need to take care of those parentheses first. So 2 to the 4th is 16. So 3x to the 5th over 16, x to the 4th. Remember, you can also think of this as top heavy, bottom heavy. I have 4 x's on the bottom and then 5 on the top, so I'm left with one left on the top. So I would have 3x over 16. Another example, I have 3 over x squared to the -3. That would give me 3 over x to the -6. Only this x to the -6 moves, so 3x to the -6. So I want to show you an example of that. So if you had 3 times x to the -6, this would turn into 3 over x to the 6, not 1 over 3x to the 6. This 3 is unaffected by the -6 unless it's in parentheses, okay? And let's do one more. X to the -3, x to the 4th over x to the 8th. I would work on the top first. The top, we've got multiplication, so we can add the exponents. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So I've got x to the 1 over x to the 8th. Now that's bottom heavy. So I have 1 on top and 8 on bottom. So I'm going to be left with 7 on the bottom. Another way you could have done that was saying x to the 1 minus 8, which is x to the negative 7, which is 1 over x to the 7th. Either way is totally fine. Okay, so just a little review of exponent notes. Hopefully that helps you do the assignment for this week.